Welcome to today's video. Today I'm going to be explaining a strategy that is going to be very effective, and I want to prove it by doing 10 sets of Shaper Guardian maps with the invitations and with a little bit of additional juice into that map. Now, we're not going to be doing Affliction League mechanic on the maps. It's kind of useless for us, and unfortunately it doesn't really help us at all because we're not doing any MF. Now, first, as you can see here, we have some remnants of corruption. Yes, we are taking essences, but we are not taking the essence sextant. Let me explain quickly from left to right what do we have here. So we have some sextants. We're going to have Shaper Guardian map boss drops the map. We're going to have magic pack size, sacred grove, and harvest duplicate, but at least one crop of blue plants. Why is that important? That is important because we are going to be growing hoards. Now, obviously, if you do not know the league mechanic, then this is going to be quite confusing. Why do we take blue plants as the sextant, but we reduce the amount of chance to grow blue plants? That means that we're going to have a reduced amount of blue plants in the harvest. However, we are guaranteed to have at least one. That's the kind of idea that we have here. Because why do we want one is for the option to upgrade other plants that are in our harvest. And that's what's important for us. Now, out of the rest, since we're running always towards the boss and we're farming the boss as well, we're taking all map boss drops as well as much map duplicate options that we can, with a little bit of map sustain as well, with shaping the mountains and adjacent mob drop chance. Besides that, we also have growing hordes, like I mentioned before. As you could see, a lot of polished scarabs. That increases our pack size by 28%. We also take destructive play, more bosses, more chances for more map sustain, which is great. We also take the essential harvest nodes, which are 10% chance for the crop to not wilt and an increased chance for a tier 4 plant, which isn't really that important, but we take this for the chance to not wilt, since destructive play makes it that it's only tier 1 plant. So the next thing is just essences are a tier higher, essences that are shrieking that will be duplicated. Then we have 3 additional essences and an additional essence in our map. Besides the map sustain, we also have the 7th gate, because that allows us to have all league map crafting options available, meaning that we can take essence on our map device. And also for harvest, we have additional harvest, 10% chance for more monsters, and then for the harvest monsters to duplicate the life force. And that's pretty much it. As you can see, I'm just taking some notes here from map duplication as well. It really helps out in terms of sustaining the maps. Now, this is the Atlas tree, and this is the strategy explained. Now, all of these maps are also farmed with a Regex. I basically Regex only the pack size. I'm not sure if that's a big mistake, but we're running this on at least 80% quantity. Most of them are around 90, 85 plus. Some of them are 100 something plus. I just make sure that it's on my Regex, and that's all. We didn't have to do this, but in purposes for me, just for quality of life, since I know this is always going to be profitable for me anyways, we're doing Maven invitations at the end of this. I'm hoping that I'll be able to drop 5 out of the next 20 maps that I'm going to be doing, since every 4 maps you do 1 invitation, so that's all we really need to do. Now, the scarabs are the cheapest polished scarabs that you can take, because they're not going to be added and used as the scarab is describing. It's only going to be used as extra pack size. So let's do a map as an example. So we're just going to take the Minotaur, we're going to take our scarabs, we're going to have our remnants of corruption. Let's take our sextants. Now, what we need to do is have essence on our map device. We need to make sure that Maven is also influencing our maps. We put in our scarabs, we put in our map, we put in our sextants. I'll very briefly also explain at the same time how crop rotation works while doing the harvest. Basically, what happens is we take the plants that we do not want and sacrifice them in order for them to be something that will help us for the other packs. So this is why it's quite important. So as you can see here, we have our essence. So obviously, if it's not purple, we're not going to click that. We're just going to farm whatever we have. Every item that I'm going to pick up from these maps, we are going to be placing into a dump tab. here we go, here's harvest, and we have a lot, holy shit, a lot of blue plants. Now this can happen, but we do have one purple and one yellow, which we definitely want to focus on. Now we're going to sacrifice absolutely all 3 of these plants with the most amount of blue plants in them in order to upgrade the rest. So as we take this, we're now going to buff ourselves up a little bit. So stuff like this can happen, obviously. It's just typical RNG, I guess, and the same thing with crop rotation. It can just happen. Now, sometimes these can be a little bit buggy. You have to look for which ones are like the juicier ones. But since we only have 2 of these crops, we're just going to take the worst ones possible. No. So it is what it is. As you can see here, we have a couple of these that are a little bit more juiced. Same thing with this, it's a little bit more juiced. Well, we're also going to take this. Let's see if those upgrade nicely as well. So sometimes we can have bad maps, sometimes we can have good maps. That's how crop rotation works. It depends on the chances for upgrading and stuff like that. Some of them can give you thousands after one map, some of them not really. So right here we have a nice juicy purple one. So we're going to take this one first, since this one is the one that upgraded the least. We're not going to hope for wilting, so we're not risking to take this. We can only hope that it would also affect the other purple plant then. But by taking this, it still upgrades the purple one, and purple juice is really good this league as well. So as you could see, we had a pretty decent yellow crop as well, and the juice is still pretty nice. Does this mean that they're still like somewhere? Yeah, here's the little guy. And there we go. This is a nice upgraded juicy boy right over here that we want to take. We already have a unique on our first run, which is quite nice, especially if it's in our example run. We just want to place our brands and run away a little bit from here. We want to make sure, let's turn off our loot filter. Let's make sure that this guy is also marked. So let's run away a little bit from here. We don't wanna die to him. Let's keep attacking. So he's gonna keep dying, and there we go. That was our 1 crop rotation roll from here, and unfortunately didn't get lucky. We didn't get, for example, the Sacred Blossom from the unique one, and we also didn't get it duplicated, but as you can see here, we have 2,000 life force, which is almost 1 divine, and the rest was there. So that was a pretty decent... Oh, I failed this actually. See, I've done a mistake. I didn't really realize. We had 1 crop to not wilt. If we use this to upgrade that one, it would be even juicier. So, I've done a mistake here. So this can happen, and now, mistakes are fine. If you do a mistake as well, just remember it and try to use it for the next 39 maps that you're about to do. Could I profit more off of that 1 more juicy thing? Of course. Of course I could profit more from that juicy crop. But am I going to, you know, hate myself over it? Absolutely. I'm going to not sleep this whole night. Of course, I'm just joking. That was just a vivid example. Not really a vivid example. It was just a normal example of how harvest crop rotation is going to look like. Now let's continue and try to finish this map. Oh my gosh. So many mobs. Yeah, my build is not good for mapping at all. Just going to take this essence as well. Boom, 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 boom. Let's continue on further. Do I have... Yeah, no. Just area of effect, that's fine. So now, after we finish the boss, we're also guaranteed a fragment from him, which is already returning us the map cost itself, just the map, not the sextants, the scarabs, and everything else. But I would have to say that that harvest was a juicy one anyways. Considering how cheap the sextants are and how everything else is going, it's just really, really good to see stuff like that. I'm really happy. So, open up a portal just in case. Now we're going to also swap to our single target. We're going to do that. And basically, Maven now is also going to invite and time to up the stakes 1 to 3 different bosses. Now those bosses are also going to hopefully die anytime soon. There we go. And we managed to get the fragment, and we also managed to get a map, just like it was guaranteed. So these were just very basic loots from this map, but it was nice, quick and easy to do and complete. And that's basically it. That's going to be the strategy. Now I'm just going to take another map and just run this one. And everything else that I got from this map, I'm just going to dump right over here. So it's going to be nice and easy to count. So I'm just going to go and continue running these maps. Now I'm going to show you a nice compilation of the loot drops, and I'll get back to you later once I finish all of the maps. So I have finished running all 40 of those maps, and these are our drops. So as I said before, I also purchased 5 invitations. I managed to drop the other 5 and have another 2 spare, which I just re-rolled and used later on. We managed to have almost 50k each of purple and yellow juice. We're closer and a little bit more on that. We have our 10 sets for Shaper, and plus all of these, which are dropped as extras from the invitations themselves. We have 5 Maven Writs and almost 6 dropped from the invitations as well. We managed to get 1 nice Cortex drop, and everything else is just pure maps that we can use. Some of these maps are worth, for example, around 80 chaos each. The essences themselves, obviously, the more you have, the more bulk price that you can sell them at. Now, considering everything else, we'll go to PoE stack, and I'll show you quickly what the results are there. Now this is our PoE stack result, and in theory have to consider this, and that PoE stack does not consider these maps that we have here as, for example, a set that you can sell on TFT, selling just like I bought them. So in theory, these maps are worth 1.5, 1.5, 1.7, 1.7, which isn't necessarily true, because this would add up to around 6 divines, correct? Because we have 3 and 3 here, when this would be actually around 7, plus we would have some maps left over. So that's another thing, because we bought these maps, we bought 10 sets, which we over-sustained here actually, in considering just the pure drops, and we managed to just can sell them back, we can run them again, do whatever we want. Now the life force also isn't calculated correctly, because in theory, as of right now, harvest juice is actually, if we can see here, we can sell this quite easily for the stack that we have with our stock, around 1 for 2,900. So now if we just quickly do a calculation of 46,700 divided by 2,900, that leaves us at 16 divines worth of yellow juice. Considering our result here, it calculates it into 13 divines, which is also a little bit less. The same thing applies to the purple juice. Regarding that, we also have all of those essences that in bulk price would also sell for probably a lot more. So I would say that anyways, this strategy is really, really good, considering the time it took me. It was just a casual couple of hours, I don't know, 2, 3, I don't count it. It was just fun to run, and it was just profitable. And I'm happy with the results. Regarding the strategy, it's quite easy to do. My build, for example, really sucks for mapping, so it could have been probably much better if you just had a lower single target damage build than I do, since mine is kind of more considered into uber bossing. I died a lot of times just when doing maps, and many other things like that. Considering everything else, we do have like a couple of weird, you know, items that I'm not even really calculating. Like these bases might be used for something. I'm probably just going to vendor them anyways. We have a lot of maps being dropped and just a lot of essences, and that's all, and we can just continue running the strat if we wanted to as well, to kind of maximize or risk our profits. We could run, okay, to maximize our profits, we could also run Uber Shaper for the consistent nice drops from that, or we can just bulk sell these sets. Another thing that we could possibly do is run Uber Maven as well, hoping to get an Enlighten, for example, Awakened Enlightened Gem, or any other actual Awakened Gem that is worth anything, or the Progenesis. There's many different things that you can get that is worth it. So yeah, there's many things that we can do with this loot anyways, and everything else is just like casual drops from the maps, which are almost none since my loot filter is extremely strict. Only that it's just like one Exalt here, a couple of Gem Cutter Prisms, and around 14 Awakened Sextants. Everything else is just maps and essences. And that's it, because that's what we were farming, and this is our consistent loot. Now, considering all of this, I always like consistency when farming things, and I have to say that, as you can see with the juice, it was quite consistent with what we got. I was mainly trying to target yellow juice, but purple juice was also okay for me. We managed to have almost a full stack of 50k on both, only with 40 maps. If we did 50, it would probably make sense that we would have an average of around 2 per map, around 1,000 per map then, which would be okay in theory. But yeah, besides that, sorry, no, around 2,000 average per map. Yeah, I was right. So that would average us around 2,000 per map if we had 50 maps and we had 100k juice each. 50k juice each, 100k together, and running 50 maps, that would make it 2,000 per map. Quick maths, I'm sorry, not that good at it. So yeah, that's the strategy. I hope you can try it and you might enjoy it. Best of luck when farming, and have some good, nice drops. One small thing I forgot to mention is actually how much did we invest into this. So we invested 7 divines into 10 sets for the map. We invested 8 divines into the Sextants, roughly. Prices can change a lot. 4 divine for the polished scarabs. You can over sustain them because I bought like 53 scarabs for 1 divine. And then 7.5 divines for the invitations, and as I wrote, just in case. In theory, we wouldn't have enough since I dropped 7 out of 10 sets, which is still really good. But yeah, it's like I said, I just bought those 5 so I don't have to trade while just running the strat. So I just bought the 5 and then I'll just sell whatever I want, or just keep these and keep farming, doing whatever I really want. So anyways, yeah, I just wanted to say that I invested 16.5 divines towards this strategy, and like I showed you here in PoE stack, we made somewhere around, probably roughly saying with the bulk prices, around 85 divines, netting us quite well. So yeah, that's it now.